turn that monitor on and see what's on the screen.
Let's get 2 minutes to go.
I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Clark Lipkin. Welcome to the Jackson County Planning Board. I'm looking around. I see we do have a quorum. The first item on the agenda is a public comment. Before I let people speak, let me make a few things clear. First of all, we welcome your comments as always. Second of all, please keep it to 3 minutes. And can I get a volunteer to time to 3 minutes?
All time.
Thank you, Gerald. And also, let me point out that while the issue of fracking is on the agenda, the planning board, well, first of all, the county commissioners, as far as I know, have no power to regulate this issue. The planning board has less than no power to regulate this issue. So while it's a topic of interest, it's not something the planning board is really working on. We are working on a revision to the cell phone tower ordinance. So we'd especially like to hear your comments on that issue, but the fracking comments, especially if you're going to be preaching to the choir or repeating someone else's comments, it may not be the most appropriate venue. All right. With that said, is there any public comment? Yes, ma'am.
I'll start because I just
Could
wanted
you
to make
step up to the mic and
okay.
state your name and address, please?
Hi, I'm Betty Ashby, and I live on Thornhill Road in Dillsboro. And I wanted to make everyone in here aware of the fact that the fracking issue is already affecting us. Our well insurance has been canceled. It is no longer possible to buy well insurance in North Carolina due to the fracking industry. If you have a policy that currently insures your well when it is renewed, it will no longer be covered. Earth movement is no longer, and I mean, I checked everyone, all the way down to, I hate to turn my back on people, all the way to Lloyd's of London. I even contacted them and asked them if they would insure a well, and they will not even insure a well in any area that allows fracking. So to say that we're not going to be harmed by this, we already have. I own 6 rental cabins, and they are totally dependent on this well. I can no longer insure it. Even if a natural disaster happens, my well is gone, I have no insurance on it anymore, and I have been able to get it up to this point. And Mr. Smith of Smith Insurance downtown can provide more information about this, but he went everywhere looking for insurance for us. You can get it in Georgia, you can get it in any other state that does not have fracking. But Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, and now North Carolina, you can no longer insure your well. So that is something that people, I keep hearing that, oh, this doesn't affect us. It already does affect us. If we have a natural disaster next week, I'm stuck with the $25,000, if it destroys my well, I'm stuck with the $25,000 bill that I have to find a way to pay. The other issue is something that you brought up that this board has no standing. That is absolutely incorrect. We have 3 recent court decisions that say that localities can control what happens locally. We can pass an ordinance against it. Just because the state passed a law that says this supersedes everything a town does, doesn't set it in stone. So we need an ordinance in this county that completely bans fracking. And then if the state says no, where it tries to override that, then we have a court case. So trying to say that this commission or this board, well, maybe not the planning board, but the commission or what we pass here has no value, that's completely incorrect. New York just recently, they upheld a local town fracking ban over a state law. And if you stop and think of the whole slippery slope, if we accept this as a county, then the state can say, oh, no slope ordinance. We just banned all slope ordinances in North Carolina, your slope ordinance is no longer counted. Or ABC or anything like that. It's unprecedented for the state to come back and say, we are passing this law that countermands everything you do in your county. It's not been challenged in North Carolina, but it certainly would be.
Your time's up.
Okay.
My name is Ethan Stats. I am a resident of Cashiers, North Carolina, and I want to speak in favor of cell towers. Water, electricity sewer, gas, telephone, paved roads, internet, radio, television, and cell phone service, including cell towers, are needed in our area. All these other amenities of life have come in, and there have been a few problems with them, but they are here to stay. There are 6 billion operating cell phones in the world right now, and there'll probably be twice that amount in 4 or 5 years. Saluda Mountain in Highlands has a stealth tower that simulates a white pine tree. And if you go to Highlands, you don't ever see the cell tower or even notice it's there. I see in the newspaper in the last few days that the real estate agents in Highlands are advertising that they're selling property and that they have, and the people that buy that property will have cell phone service. They can't say that in Cashiers because most of the homes in the north and the south part of the area does not have cell phone service. The cell phones offer us all each the pleasure of mobile communication. They are a method of avoiding being lost when you're hiking. You can call in medical emergencies when and wherever they take place. You have the convenience of a telephone at all times in all places. You have internet service, long distance. A cell tower can be made to look like a tree, as I've already said, or the spine of a church, or a vertical wooden structure. There are pictures of these over the internet. We cannot live in the past when we're in the 21st century. And we don't carry water from the creek because we're against pipes and pumps and so forth. We don't burn kerosene lamps. We have electricity coming in our house over wires that are on poles. Outhouses are mostly a thing of the past. We have operating toilets. We need more cell towers in the Cashiers area.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm Amy Chase and I live in Cashiers. And my question is about cell phones. And I just want to know, do we know anything about, I can't talk pro or con. All I want to know is, are there any dangers to cell towers? Do we even know what the technology might do with respect to things like radiation and where it goes and what all this stuff going back and forth in the air between the cell tower and all the people who are using the cell phones and all that goes on? What is it? I don't know, and I'd like to know. And everybody talks about the aesthetics of this, and they don't talk about what some of the other implications might be. So that's my question.
This is not really meant to be a question and answer session, but the short answer is I'm not aware of any danger other than it falling down and hitting someone.
Publicly say this is something we might consider.
Any other public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Anna Ariello. I'm a resident of Jackson County. And I just want to say, I know you asked us not to make comments about fracking, but I think fracking is one of the most potentially dangerous things to come along in a long time. I know this room was filled here when we were talking about steep slope ordinance, and I think those things kind of pale with the idea of fracking coming to western North Carolina. The danger to our water supply is probably the most specific and devastating long-term effects. I'm glad so many people turned out. I know that wasn't the purpose of this meeting, but I'm glad to see that there is a a groundswell of opposition to something that is so potentially dangerous. And especially in the opportunity, we have an opportunity in Western North Carolina to be a little more experimental since we're a rural community, and I think for us to invest in future technologies like wind power and solar power would just be a great boon economic boon to our area, and stop looking backward at fossil fuels.
Any other comments? Yes, sir.
Thank you all. My name is Kirk Collins. I live at Growth Ridge Road in Cullowhee, North Carolina. And I really just have a question. Are we going to be able to ask questions when the presentation on fracking happens to the person giving the presentation?
Yeah,
No,
really,
this is an information session just for the planning board, and that's what its intent was. We're glad all of you came, but the questions will be limited to the planning board now.
Okay. Another thing I'd like to say while I have the opportunity, there's a sheet of paper going around, and I'm turning that into the Western North Carolina Alliance. And if you would like future information, please sign it. They're creating a coalition. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. I assume the planning board is